Hello, everyone, and welcome in. Welcome in. Thanks for tuning in. I am Coach Sherri, and this is my channel. It's about workforce development, career readiness, entrepreneurship, real life, real issues, and real talk. Today is Monday, and it's a new week, so I hope that your week has started off good. I hope you had a great weekend. And if you have been following my channel, you may have seen my live, or it was a live that I did on Friday after this conference that I attended, and it was a branding conference for women. It was a great conference, lots of information, great nuggets. And, I met some wonderful women, and they were from all over, from Las Vegas, Los Angeles, New York, New Jersey, Charlotte, of course, different parts of South Carolina, and the women were dynamic. I was really happy to be in that number, to be able to meet them. And sometimes, when you attend different things, you may wonder, like, should I be here? In regards to maybe a lot of the things that they're sharing. And so sometimes you learn, it's more of a confirmation of you are on the right track. All you have to do is just step out there. And I see Mind Journey is in the building. Hello, how are you doing? It's so great to see you. I hope you're doing well. Thank you for popping in and saying hello in the chat. So that's how I was starting to feel, especially on Saturday at the event, because I have a wealth of knowledge, layers and layers of real experience. And a lot of people, when they talk about knowledge that they have, it might be books that they've read, information that they've gathered, and they consider that their knowledge base. And it is. But mine is more than just that. It's also the actual experience, the practical experience. So a lot of people have the technical down, the book learning, book smart, but I have the actual hands-on with it too. So I noticed that a lot of the things, a lot of the strategies and systems that they were recommending, for people to start to implement, to think about, I already have done that, been there, done that, doing that, forgot about it, maybe need to pick it back up. And so for me, that conference was definitely confirmation of all the things that I have already experienced. I'm glad that you're doing well, Mind Journey, definitely. Hello, Godfrey. Welcome back. And so, and I see Maribel is in the building. Fernandez, hello to you. Welcome in. The thing is, growing up in a brick and mortar business that my parents owned and operated for 40 years, I learned a lot of great lessons about business, and especially customer service, from my parents. And my father in particular, he was a stickler for customer service in terms of never turning anyone away. Don't treat a person for what they quote unquote look like, in terms of what they may have on. You don't know where they're coming from or where they're going to. You don't know what their situation is. Their right now is not their constant. Their right now doesn't mean that's where they're going to stick and stay. So you just never know. So you want to treat everyone well, because they will remember that. People remember how you treat them. And so a lot of times when you go to events, they don't recognize that everything that they do is also customer service. So maybe if a person says no, no just means not right now. And no might mean not for me, but maybe for someone that I know, because maybe someone I know needs to have that additional support, those additional resources or what have you. And, maybe they will be a better fit. But if I say no, and you treat me like I said no, that's a different thing. And that's something that I experienced over the weekend. I don't have a problem with, you may not know this, but I don't really have a problem with developing businesses. I don't have a problem with putting myself out there at all. But sometimes it's good to have a tribe behind you that's also doing the same thing. So really, they're not behind you, they're right next to you, they're all around you. And that's what I was thinking that this group possibly could be. But then after talking with some of the people that actually have gone through the process with what they were offering, and the fact that they were re-upping what they were, like doing it again, I was thinking, so, you invested all of that and you still are not probably not where you want to be. That's interesting to me. And what I'm gonna tell you is, if you ever have a business that you want to have investors put money to, and you know you're going to be around of a lot of people that could possibly invest in your project, your business, whatever the case may be, make sure you have your business plan with you. And if you don't have your business plan, you need to absolutely know what your business plan entails. And it's just a matter of you getting to your technology, your computer, or whatever, to send that business plan electronically to whomever you're talking with. So when you have a project, there are a lot of angel investors out there, people that will invest in special projects, things that maybe a traditional bank may not necessarily invest in, but it does require quite a bit of funds. And, there are investment houses that deal with angel investors where, they know people that are into sustainability, into doing things well for the communities, doing projects that's going to help heal people in one way or the other, things that they can really put their name behind, and it makes them feel good when they do it. Sometimes they don't even want that money back, not even, and if they do, it may be just what they put in. But at any rate, when you are doing your business plan, you want to have different layers, different levels with it. So if you are going to have investors and they're going to get a percentage of your project, what percentage is that? When are they going to get that payment? Is it when the project is a quarter done, completely done? Is it a year out? Is it, quarterly? How are you paying them out? And if they are going to just be a sponsor and they're pledging this amount of money, what are those pledges? What are those amounts that you're looking for? Because what is your total cost? And what are your costs? If you are, for instance, let's say you are filming a movie. Okay, you have a director's fee of the person that's going to direct it, but then you have your daily food, what they call that, I forget what they call the food, but where the actors and the people that work for the production, they have to eat, and craft services. And then you have location costs. If you're using any vehicles, even if it's someone else's vehicle, you have to pay for that. If you're using someone's home, maybe a room in their home, typically you have to pay for that. One of my dear friends, I don't know if you've seen Talladega Nights, the movie, but that movie was filmed in her home, and they filmed it there for like 3 weeks, I want to say 3 to 4 weeks, and she made a grip. So that's when I realized, there's a lot of money to use your home for movies. And then it goes on a roster of sorts, where other film productions can, look through a catalog and see your home and say, you know what, we want to use different aspects of this house for our film too. So you have to take all of that into consideration. Timing, if you are flying people in, if people are doing the makeup, wardrobe, what are you budgeting for all of that? And that all goes into your business plan, your business pro forma. And that's what you would give to investors. So if you're finding that you're going to any kind of conference, any type of industry event or whatever, you need to have, and you have a project, be it an event, something you're trying to launch, anything like that, a new business you're trying to start up, to open up, you want to have all of those specifics written down. And if you don't have it written in that moment, but you know it off the top of your head, you let them know, this is the overview of the project cost. And I have a lot of different elements within it. When I get home, when I get to my office, I will shoot you an email with the electronic version of everything outlined. And if hopefully you're not driving yourself home, if you're traveling, somebody else is driving, or you flying or whatever, you need to be typing away and getting that together so that when you get where you're going, you can send it out. But that's how you do it. That's how you do it. When we talk about applying and applications, even if you're applying for grants, if you're applying for RFPs, if you're applying for money that you want to use to do what you do, that's one thing, finding them, understanding, okay, we got the grant. I know, somebody told me about this money out here. There's money out here, whatever. You want to make sure your application is professional, that is clean, that it speaks for your business, and you show your level of expertise. You don't want to look like you was just sitting in your living room and somebody just threw you this opportunity. You said, oh yeah, I'm gonna put my name in a hat. No, you want to make sure it is thorough, and anyone else that you have aligned with you, that is thorough. And these are things that I know. And so, at some points it was just interesting for me to sit there, because I'm like, like itching almost in my seat to just say, man, I wish I, can go up there to say a couple of things too. But at the same time, it was great because I learned that I know. And that's a lesson within itself. I learned that I know. And that is really a lesson within itself. So thank you for welcoming people in my journey, because I have been just on a rampage. This is Roxanne is in the building. Hello to you. It's your birthday. Happy birthday to you. Johnny Atkins, hello, welcome in. YT Games, hi to you. Sergio Diaz, hi, how you doing? And let's see, Des Lourdes Rocher, hello to you. It's a lot of new people in here, and I appreciate you for being here. Thank you for holding it down, Mind Journey. I know you wasn't expecting to have to hold it all the way down, but I appreciate you for sure. And if you are new to this channel, it is about workforce development, career readiness, entrepreneurship, real life, real issues, and real talk. And I am Coach Sherri, and I'm all those things plus more. So on here, you will definitely need your pen and paper for many of my videos to take down notes. My videos are definitely shareable, because if it's not for you, it's definitely for someone that that are going through some things that may need new direction, understanding how to pivot and being okay with that, but having those resources and that knowledge to do that next move that they may be interested in. Periodically, I will share career opportunities. I get a lot of information across my desk that is very valuable, and it's not about me keeping it for myself, but me sharing it. And I don't mind. That's another thing. Listen, when you have favor and you know it, and it's been favorable for many, 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 many years, you don't have to charge for every little thing. I'm not charging for the condiments. Here, you need this so that your meal will taste even better. And that's another thing I noticed, that there's so many people that almost will refuse to give you the secret sauce, and I'm not going to really, the secret sauce is really you. So I'm not even worried about that. But there are people that are concerned with giving you those condiments because they think that, oh, I wanted to make that money. And one thing, if you know about me, I'm not about that money grab. I'm not about making that quick dollar. I'm about, that longevity of it all. I'm about giving you that value. So even after you're done, the word out on the street, the word on the curb, the word around the world is, you want to connect with Coach Sherri. That's period. If you purchase something from me, if you use my services for whatever reason, and it's not for you, maybe you don't have time to dedicate, you're always rescheduling your sessions, or you're not really dedicated to put in the work that I'm setting out for you, that we are setting out for you together, then I can't have you as a client, because who are you going to tell? You're not going to share who I am and what I do with anyone for many reasons. One is because you didn't see the results. Two is because you paid and you didn't even put in the work to get the results. So now you're feeling like, yo, I just wasted all this money. Or three, you just, you just know that I don't know, because I really didn't play full out. So for me, it's important that whatever you do in life, and you need to know this for yourself, whatever you do in life, make sure you're ready to do it. Don't have anyone, convince you to do it, make you do it, peer pressure you to do it. You know your schedule. Just like when people are going back to school, and I have a tuition prepayment program, and I tell them it's not a class grab. So you have a family reunion coming up, and you gonna let your hair down and gonna party like it's 1999, or you going on a 2-week cruise, you probably shouldn't take classes that semester, because you might not do well in that class, because you say, oh, but my class is virtual, it's on demand, I can take my class anywhere as long as I have have my laptop, whatever. But you know, when you get around your family, your folks, you're not going to take class. You know, when you on that cruise and your Wi-Fi is not working because you didn't buy the Wi-Fi package, you're not going to do your work. You're not going to catch up with it. You're going to be behind, and then you just going to give up because you're going to be tired after you come back from that reunion or even from that cruise, and it's just not going to be good. So know yourself, know your schedule. You may even have high season in the work that you do where, it's like it's a busy time and you're not going to get anything done. So be very mindful of those moments in your life. And a lot of people don't take time to think of that. So that's how it goes, even for having a coach, having someone that's going to help you get to that next level. Are you ready? Do you have the time to do it, to put into it? Some people will say, well, you can make that time, blah, 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 but you don't want to make that time. You want to have that time, because making that time is going to ultimately stress you out, because like, man, I'm just trying to cram this in. So that's why scheduling, calendaring is important. Understanding, again, your schedule, but you see it. You see the patterns of your schedule. You know when your high season is, your low season is, when it's going to be most appropriate for you, when you're ready mentally, when you're ready physically too. That's important. And also know what other things you have going on. I have another thing going on. That's what I was trying to tell them. Like, listen, I'm going to make this other thing work first. I'm not investing anything until, anything just to invest. Peer pressure don't work for me in that way. And, so it's so important to know yourself for sure. And so Mind Journey is saying, yes, a closed hand fails to give to others, but they also are never filled. It's good to share what you know and learn. Share all the condiments. Absolutely. Because this is what I know with favor. First of all, favor is not always fair to everyone. And that's when it's not fair, you got to look around and you got to be accountable. That's first of all, like, okay, what's really going on with me? But with favor, you get more when you give more. And so many people are like, it's almost like fingernails on the chalkboard when I share information, even here on YouTube. Sometimes people be like, yo, you giving too much. God has given me much to give. And what I give is for the masses. So what I give individually, that is customized. So I'm throwing it out there, and like my father always would say, throw it out there, something's going to stick to the wall. So it's only going to stick for a few people anyway, and whoever it sticks for, you needed it, and you may not have even been able to afford it, but you heard it and you received it, and hopefully you implemented it. And that's what I want. That's what this is all about. Legacy work is not about a money grab. That'll come. And if you don't need it, you have patience to wait for it to come. So that's the beauty of it. So it's not about, oh, I'm not going to tell them any more of this. I'm going to hold this to myself. No, I'm going to give it, and give it freely. Favor is not always fair. No, it's not. It's not. And All Black, hello to you. I hope I'm saying your name right. You seen my YouTube stories before? Well, listen, I have a lot of YouTube stories, shorts, lives, pre-recorded videos, posts. I have a lot of things. I hope that you take the time out to look through my portfolio, my YouTube portfolio, and consider subscribing if you're not yet part of this team, because this is a whole team over here. We're a vibe. We have some great people that's part of this team they have different positions because they're all trying to win. And if you're trying to win together with people, they all need to have different positions, and they do. And I really enjoy this platform, and I hope you do too, for sure. Poet is in the building. Hello to you. TWP Popcorn, what is popping with you? How are you? Hope you're doing well. So yes, so I was thinking about all those things, and you know what? The main thing that got me thinking, I always say, write it down, make it plain. And y'all, one of the last, I want to say, exercises that was directed for us to do at the end of the conference was to write down one question that you have about your business that you would like to have addressed. One pressing question that you would like to have addressed so that you can take action with it. Meaning, I have this thing that maybe I'm not doing right or whatever, And so I want to ask you about it. And when you give me the solution, I'm going to implement it right away. So they gave us index cards to write these things out. I actually needed 2 index cards. I started writing, and then I rewrote what I wrote the first time. But writing out what I want to do for my business, it made it plain for me. And so they were going around the room to see who wanted to share what their thing was. Maybe either they could read it or they would have someone from her team to read it, right? And so they kept kind of circling around me because they knew I was writing ferociously, what I was thinking. And I said, I can't share this here. It's too deep. It's like no one has the answer here. I know the answer. And I just have to do it. But putting it on paper, writing it down, making it plain, it was like an aha moment for me. It really was. It was an aha moment. And thank you so much, All Black. Thank you. And the Solomon Project is in the building too. Hello to you. Welcome in. Welcome in. So sometimes that happens where when you write something down, you think it in your head. That's why I tell people all the time when they tell me, oh, Coach Sherri, I have this idea for this business, for this or that. Oh, I want to do that. I want to go here. I want to go there. I want to experience this. I want to experience that. And I'm like, did you write it down though? And they'll be like, well, I know it because it's in my head, or I put it in my phone, in my notes. No, you have to write it down, pen and paper. It hits different. And what I wrote hit so different on Saturday until it just made me sit there for a while. I sat there almost until the room was clear because it was like the biggest aha moment. And for me, I have access to an executive coach that I've used before. And my executive coach is not trying to be with me for years on end. I'm not trying to be with her years on end either. However, when you have a certain level of experience, sometimes you may find yourself getting in your way. You may find yourself stuck a little bit where you're like, man, I need an accountability partner, but I need someone that is like third party with this. Because if you try to bring a friend in, someone that knows you in, they may not be as tough as you need them to be. And I'm not talking about being mean. I'm talking about that tough, not even tough love, just keeping it real, 100, like professionally 100. Your family and friends cannot keep it professionally 100 with you because they know you too much. They know your soft spots. They know your strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, threats, all of that for real. But if you get a third party that just knows what they know, and they take what you're saying and they can pull it together with the skills that they've acquired, maybe through their competencies from going through training to be that executive coach, because you have to go through training to, be at that level. They're able to walk you through. And if you are at that level, because I'm a coach, I've gone through numerous types of training for it. But for myself, I need that third party. So every now and again, Coach Sherri will say, listen, the coach needs to be coached. And I've literally said that before. And for me, I know when I do have a coach, especially when I'm investing in that person, oh, I'm playing full out. What you need me to do? What's the action steps? What's the hard thing that I'm gonna have to, tackle? And I'm gonna tackle it because I know the next session, they're gonna ask me about it. And I don't wanna say, oh, I was too busy. I didn't get to it. I'm not going to cancel my meetings. I'm not going to reschedule. I'm going to adhere to that schedule. We are so quick to cancel things that are most important to us. That's going to help us. But then the other things that are more or less nonsensical, oh, we're going to keep those appointments. We're going to make sure we're there. So it's about, doing things that but you forgot about what. And that's, again, what I learned. I learned what I already know. And you have to relearn that sometimes. It's all good. It really is. The biofeedback arrogance, you know what? It sounds like it, but no, I'm recapping my experience over the weekend. And I really love that organization. I think they are so dope. I just know that I don't have to pay to be part of that. And I recognize like my circle for real is deep. It's deep. It had me going on to into my NFL wives chat, like, yo, what are y'all up to? But see, the challenge with them is that, we're all dealing with the challenges of our husbands with, the suspected CTE and things of that nature. So a lot of them, they're so wrapped up in that they can't see beyond it. So it's hard for them to be great think tank partners at this point, unfortunately. But I have a wide circle of sorors, of just great friends, women that are just dynamic, even men that are dynamic. And you don't have to put a price tag on that. You really don't. You meant a bit of. So let me see. Because, biofeedback is a thing too. So hold on. You're welcome. You're welcome, Solomon Project. You're welcome. And so Al Black is saying that they've been journaling since 2018 and it changed your life. I know it did. I'm telling you, journaling is so powerful, and that's your footprint. That's your legacy too. That's what you're leaving behind. Those are nuggets. Those are life lessons. That's a blueprint that you're leaving, not just for yourself, but those that are coming behind you. And I hope that periodically you're able to kind of look back on the things that you've journaled and see how far you've come, and really embrace that and congratulate yourself. Don't let that go. Don't let that go unnoticed. And that's another thing that I recognized this weekend. I'm telling you, they had some dynamic speakers. They really did. Is that you can't take it for granted, those wonderful nuggets that you've acquired. A lot of people take them for granted because they're covered with dirt. They may be chipped or broken and they just think they're not worth anything. No, those are very valuable, and you need to just wipe them down and clean them off and really appreciate them for what they are and what they're bringing into your life. For real. Yes. Let's see. What's the difference between coach and a therapist? That's a great question. So a therapist is someone that you talk to, and they're really trying to unravel what your beliefs are. Why did you get to this point? What makes you you, and the decisions that you make, because we all have beliefs. We were born, the bed that we were bred in provides us with beliefs. The community we grew up in provides us with beliefs. The things, how we process information. And a lot of times our beliefs will slow us down because our beliefs aren't always accurate for each situation that we're in our life. And so, a lot of times you may feel like in your relationships, personally, professionally, that you need that additional support, those strategies on how to overcome those things. But they really go deep with your emotional and mental, and trying to figure it out. Now, a coach, we touch on that, but we're about the actions. Like, okay, that's happening, but in the meantime, you can't be paralyzed. You can't be paused. You got to keep moving. And so we're going to help you get those tools to help you keep moving, because maybe you're pausing. That's not even a word. Being so paralyzed and stuck doesn't allow you to have that exposure or awareness of all the things that are available to help you do what you need to do. And so a coach helps you strategize in a way that's going to help you make that move to get closer to the goal that you have set. Not necessarily, and then when you get to that goal, in the meantime, they're still we're pouring into you of how you can make those differences, maybe in how to communicate more effectively, maybe how to strengthen your personal brand, how to be an active listener, how to handle feedback. But in the meantime, we really are focused on moving the needle for you. And a therapist wants you to move that needle too, but they know you have a lot of internal work to do first. And so a lot of people have both. They have that therapist, counselor, and they have that coach. They're both very important. And a life coach can help you move that needle, absolutely. And I'm also a certified life coach, because I do talk about the cognitive cycle and how you process things and how you are stuck and why you may be stuck, and what are the beliefs that are really hindering you, and what's going on your inside voice. What's your inside voice telling you? And why are you believing that portion of your inside voice. Oh, here we go. Let me get this Tic Tac. Woo. All right. Hold on. Woo, I'm trying to tell you, I think the air in my car gets dry. I have to keep Tic Tacs on like on cruise control. Hold on, I should have said time out. But I saw Sassy walk in. I see Colamere Hodges just came in. Wellness with Frugal Mama. What? If y'all need to get your day jump started, you need to check out Wellness with Frugal Mama, because every morning, I know it is 7 o'clock Eastern Standard Time, she is dedicated. She's out there, you know, in her home doing her workouts, a variety of workouts too. So you definitely have an opportunity to try new things with her. She always has a message for the day. Just a great person, a great content creator. All of you are, for sure. And All Black, since you are new to my channel, are you a content creator also? I know the Solomon Project, right? Like, what was that? It was tremendous. The cough I just had was tremendous. Like, I probably should have stepped out the car for that. It was a lot going on with it. It threw me off, for real. But I saw everyone was still coming in, and I appreciate y'all rocking with me. You said, listen, I don't know what's going on with Coach Sherri, but we're going to hold on. We're going to just hold on for a little while longer. Oh, no, Solomon, Yeah, no, I didn't feel that way. I didn't feel that way. And so what the Solomon Project is saying, they didn't mean to make it sound as if I'm being arrogant. I meant that as a general occurrence with many in business. Yeah, for sure. And I understand that. I definitely didn't take that as, you know, a bad thing. And you know, arrogance is definitely, it's definitely like it's subjective, and all I know is I know what I know, and I can't apologize for it. I don't apologize for it. But not a lot of people are confident in the things that they know, so they'll hide behind it, and, you know, maybe push someone else in front instead of them, because, you know, like, oh no, I don't want people to think. But listen, you have your experiences, you have your knowledge, you have your skills for a reason, and you really need to use them and own them. It's not about, just like when I tell people, when I do interview prep, and so many people are so afraid of talking about themselves. You know, they're like, well, Coach Sherri, I don't want to sound like, you know, I'm arrogant or that I know everything. I said, what? When you go to an interview, that's when you're supposed to talk about what you can bring to the table. I said, you don't go into a party and say, you know, Coach Sherri's in the building, what's up? I could do this, I could do that. No, but when you want to interview, you need to put all yourself out there for the things that you can do, so you can show your value. But there's still a way that you would communicate that on an interview. You still not walking in there like, you know, clear the room or whatever, but People have to be more comfortable with owning the things that the gifts, the talents, the skills that they have, and not be so afraid of what other people will say or how they feel. How people feel about how you feel about yourself is none of your business. At the end of the day, that's their problem. That's something they have going on. And the sooner you can understand that and receive that, the better it'll be. I probably let me get some more Tic Tacs. This is who still even eats Tic Tacs? Where do you find them? I don't even know how they got in my car. I got the white ones. Back in the day, I used to love the orange ones, but I think the orange ones are just like candy. Brought me to tears. Oh my goodness. Brought me to tears for real. Confidence is definitely the key to interviews. And another thing with interviews is that they are a conversation. You know what? Let me bite this because I'm sorry. And I have all my teeth, even my wisdom teeth. Y'all, hold on to your wisdom teeth. There's some kind of jar, box, canister, container that they put in everybody's wisdom teeth in. They try and take all of our wisdom. Every time I go to the dentist, except this one last time I just went and I got a deep cleaning on this side of my mouth. And that's the first time in daggone 55 years that I went to the dentist and they did not try to talk me out of or talk me into getting my wisdom teeth taken out. I'm like, listen, I had them my whole life. I didn't know they came in. They didn't hurt. They don't bother me. I'm able to reach them. Why do you want to take them out? They're the anchors to your mouth. That's why when people get their wisdom teeth out, then you start seeing their teeth falling out, getting crooked, getting jacked up for whatever reason, because that's the anchor. They don't tell you that. I'm like, why would you want to pull it? And then, hold on, I need to have some water. So look, I got a deep cleaning. They had to do it in 2 sessions, right? So the first session, they said, oh, you have a filling in your wisdom tooth and it's hanging off by like a thread. What you mean? Yeah, you probably need to get that tooth pulled. Hold on. So you mean to tell me at some point in my life, I don't even remember, they were able to put a cap or, fill in whatever. And now you're telling me because it's hanging off like the cap or the whatever by a thread, I gotta get the whole tooth pulled? No, I think you could probably fix that. I think you could fix that. Yes, people have been raised to shrink. You're right, Mind Journey. So, okay, one of the things that I always do when I'm doing interview prep is making people really comfortable. I tell them an interview is a conversation. You're having a conversation with the people that are considering you for that position. But in order to have that conversation, you have to know what you're talking about and be very comfortable. And in order to do that, you have to practice. That's why at the end of each video I always say practice so hard so that when you get into play, you will always play to win. And an interview is like a game. But if you don't practice for it, you're gonna stumble, you're gonna fall, you're gonna feel inadequate, you're going to not be comfortable. And so that's why if you know that your name is in the hat somewhere to be, for a position that you've applied for, you're considering or whatever, you are trying to pivot your career, you are, looking or whatever, you're trying to get promoted, you right now should be practicing your interview prep skills. How are you going to answer questions? What are those dynamic and incredible things that you've done in your past that you can use as an example to answer a question? If you don't practice them, those examples will be so far back in your mind, unused, unpracticed, until when you get in the game, it's going to be rusty. You're going to get on that foul line and you're not going to even hit the rim, the basket, the net, nothing. You might hit the bottom of the net, but it's not going in. And so you really need to make sure that every day you're thinking of things that you've done, and how are you going to describe it? How are you going to explain it? And so I have this thing, it's called a transferable skills worksheet. And I tell people, go back as far as you can remember of things that are very relevant to who you are and your skills today. It could be something you didn't get paid for. People are always scrambling around trying to figure out, oh, I didn't get paid for that. So what? You acquired a skill doing it. Let me tell you, when my kids were little, their elementary school, over 100 parents volunteered at that school every single day. People had nothing but time. They had nothing but time. Hold on, I have to cough again. Hold on. Yeah, I know. All right. Yeah, the sheet is dope. I created it. It's really dope. So 100 parents volunteered every day. Those women, and they were fathers. My husband was one of the fathers that would be up in there. Mostly like fathers that own their own businesses and stuff like that, or have retired from sports. So listen, those women ran that school like a Fortune 500 company. The PTO, yeah, okay. You could think you coming in there late for those meetings if you want to. It was a whole corporate meeting. They were about that business. And you don't think they could put that on their resume after their children have grown up and they wanted to pivot back into the workforce or whatever? The money we raised for fundraisers were tremendous. The school didn't ever have to worry about money, ever. Supplies, programs, technology, we had them covered. Those women, and I was part of it, ran that school like a Fortune 500. And when you see that type of talent together doing what they do, you need to join in. Even if you just in the room for a little bit, you need to meet people, you need to insert yourself and figure it out. Because especially if you are a stay-at-home mom, you want to be part of something like that, because you could absolutely use that on your resume. You can absolutely talk about that in interviews. Make sure that you have a part in it. If you're part of an association or organization and you are a member, don't just be a member. If you're trying to live a life that's beyond average, you can't just be a member. You have to be a contributing person on that board of advisors. You have to, implement stuff, lead strategic committees in that organization. Take ownership, put yourself out there. Whatever you can't do on your job, if you have a job and you want to do it, but they just won't hire you to do it, or they don't have it available. If you join an organization, 9 times out of 10, they may have what you are trying to learn how to do or that you want to do, and do it there. And let that be your experience. It don't have to be because you're not paid that you can't talk about it. And so All Black is saying, one of my friends was asked in an interview, so what can you do something better for our company? And he responded, I can do better than the people working under you. Test me. And they hired him. That's interesting. And people will say that, yeah, but you have to do it even better than that, because not every company will just hire you for saying that. You have to give them an example of when you've done better. Because if I'm on the interview panel, words are nothing to me. You could say you good, you could say you part of a team, you could tell me that people like you, you could tell me that you make money. If you don't tell me how, I'm not buying. I'm not doing it. Because words, anybody can say words. Anyone, a question. So how could, like you're saying with your friend, how can you, can you do better than what people are doing right now for us? Yeah, I can. What? That's a word. Those are words. That means nothing to me. When have you done better in something? You got to give me an example. And that's utilizing the STAR technique, which is something else that I train when I do interview prep. And that's given the situation, right? When have you done better? When have you implemented something better? When have you made something better? When, because you were on that team, you're one. When, because you were on that team, You met your deadline. You exceeded your deadline. When? Because you were on that team, y'all saved money. When? Because you were on that team. So what was that situation? And what was your task? What was your position on that team? And what were the action steps that you took to do what you were doing? Did you delegate? Did you research? Did you, what did you do? And what was the end result? Now I can see you doing that for me. And I believe that you can because you did it before. And that's your transferable skill. And that's why I have a transferable worksheet. So you could put things like that on there and be able to talk about it, in the interview. You're going to have that conversation. They don't know you. So you have to give them examples. Won't you feel better if you are talking to someone and they can really give you examples of when they did things that they're talking about versus them just saying, oh yeah, I love it. Oh, I'm good at that. Listen, I don't cook, but I be daggone, I make good macaroni and cheese. I get down. That's my thing. I would put my mac and cheese in a contest. And so my team is always like, Sherri, what's up? When you gonna make some mac and cheese for us? But listen, I make it for my family because my family loves me. And so they love my mac and cheese. I don't know if my team love me to that extent yet. So I have to see. I tell them, I don't know. So they're not going to take my word that I say I make the best macaroni and cheese, because I haven't shown them how. I haven't even given them the ingredients because that's my thing. That's my secret sauce. So, sometimes you have to give those examples. Sometimes you got to give that taste test for people to really believe it. And let me see. Companies seek people that are resourceful and that add value, raising money, networking, managing, etc. All valuable, collaborating. How are you with collaborations? With outreach? Are you, do you do events? Do you make money? Do you save money? Are you strategic? Do you think strategically? But your friend, All Black, they got that hookup, and I hope that on that job that they liked it and everything worked out well for them. And I hope that they did make things better for sure. And the Solomon Project is saying I always show up to the interview with my shirt unbuttoned, so that see, that's why I have to rock with you, so that my chest hair show, and 9 gold chains and a gold cap on a single tooth. You know what? You saying judge me if you want to, but you don't know what you're gonna get out of all this is what's up. And I'm not mad at that. You are hilarious. You are hilarious. I don't judge a book by its cover. When people come in, sometimes I just be like, that must be the best they have. But with them gold chains and that gold cap, I know you probably could have did better. But if your answers are on point, because that's what I'm listening for, and as long as I know you're not going to be front facing in front of the camera or the community, you good. You good. As long as I can understand the value that you bring. And it also depends on the position for sure. Right? I know. My journey, Solomon, is hilarious. And I've been in other lives with the Solomon Project, and I've enjoyed it. I know some people will be like, okay, see, what you talking about? You going too far, but I don't mind. Yes. Let's see. And I see Allison Mapp is in the building. You had to come down for that one, right? The taco meat out with the shirt, not the taco meat, and not the baby hairs showing on the chest. That's wild. I've seen some wild people come in for interviews. I sit on many different types of panels, and it it's all interesting. And sometimes I'd be like, well, they may have forgotten that today was the interview. They just was like, oh, you know what? Yo, I need to, hold on. I need to just go. Let me just wash my hands because I know I'm going to shake some hands. So let me at least let my hands be clean. Sometimes that's what it looks like. Yes. And oh, good. I'm glad he's doing great. And now I have doubts and I'm projecting some judgment on the company he's working under. Now you have doubt. See, okay, listen. Let me tell you, All Black. All right. I'm glad you said that. Because I say this and I teach this. Your personal brand matters so much. And when you work for a company, you not only represent them, but you represent your brand and your family's brand, depending on how deep you want to go. So I always use this example, especially when people are newly hired. And if they're in one of my programs, I do like a 2-week workplace readiness training for them. And one of the things I say is, you need to protect your personal brand, and you can rebrand yourself. However, imagine if you have a favorite restaurant and you love their food, like you go there, you frequent there often, let's just say, and you find out that a person, I'm not going to say they're your best friend, your friend, whatever, but somebody that is nasty, like their house is nasty, they dirty, they stank, it's just nastiness. Like, how there's some people, your mother tell you when you go to their house, don't you eat none of that food, don't even go, don't bring your purse in, don't even bring your purse in, much less put it on the floor. I'm talking about like that. And you find out that they hired them to cook. Yeah, okay, I'm not going to that restaurant anymore. So you start looking at that restaurant suspect, like, yo, you hired this person, what's your hiring process like? And so, All Black, when you said that, I was thinking of that example of, when you have your brand follows you. And if your brand is not where it needs to be, when you do get hired to places and people know, and it's something that maybe they use, they may stop using it, like, or they may look at that company like, you're not what I thought you were. So yeah. Okay, Allison, thank you. You can't. No, you can't. You could compete. Listen, I tell everybody, come on, you could compete, but I'm gonna win. That's the thing. I'm going to win. I'm telling you, my mac and cheese is something special. First of all, because again, I don't cook. I'm not a cook. I can't do everything good. That's what I tell people. My family love me anyway. So that's not why my husband married me. So it's all right. It's okay. But listen, it takes me 5 hours to make my mac and cheese. 5 hours. I put so much love in it. When I'm doing what I do to it, I'm thinking about my husband. I'm thinking about my kids and how much I love them and how I know that my mac and cheese is their most favorite thing. I only make it like 2 or 3 times a year, for the holidays and whatnot. Juju timed out TWP popcorn. Oh, Juju was timed out by TWP. Thank you, TWP. I was like, who's Juju? How they time out TWP popcorn? Because he's popping over here. Ain't no timing him out. What in the world? Yeah, it is. I'm telling you, they love me. They love me. And so when I'm cooking it, I always, because I don't make anything else, I have to make that really good, because I usually make it for Thanksgiving, Christmas, and Easter. And sometimes when my kids were younger, they would ask for it for their birthdays. For my husband, I would sometimes make it for his birthday, but I don't want to oversaturate it, and I'm not in the kitchen like that. So, and we get everything else catered. So everything else is just built around my mac and cheese. And so I'm like, I gotta get it right, because this is the only thing. And I know they love it so much, and I don't ever want them to eat it. And they be like, oh, like, what you do different? And there's been times when I may have missed 1 or 2 of the ingredients, because I use a lot of different things. And they know, they'll be like, oh, wait a minute, there's something something missing. So yeah. Definitely cooking something there. Yeah. So I tell people, yeah, come on. We could be in a competition together. It's just that I'm a win. That's all. That's all there is to it. And I know there's so many different ways to make mac and cheese, for sure. Yes, so many things are oversaturated, my journey. People have a lot of habits, and sometimes they become habitual with things that they eat, that they do, and they just do it over and over, and then it becomes like it's not special anymore. So I want my mac and cheese to always remain special, and that's another reason why I don't make it all the time. But y'all been with me, rocking with me this evening through my coughing fits, and I really think it's the air quality. I probably should roll the window down. I'm surprised my car didn't turn off, but it's not as hot. It is 88 degrees, but my car is very temperamental, doesn't like to be outside. That's why on Friday it just turned off. My car just turned off. It said, I don't know where you think you have us and what you think you're doing, but we ain't going. And I was sitting in the parking lot and it just turned off. I was like, what who does that? I was counting on you to keep me cool. Cause it was like, I think it was 90 degrees, maybe it was 88. I don't know. It was hot and sunny though. It's not as sunny anymore. But I appreciate you all. I hope that y'all got a nugget or just an aha moment, from the information that I shared with you. If you are interested, this is what I do. So I have my email addresses in my description. I take everyone, and everyone don't take me, and I get that. And that's another thing I try to tell people: when you have a business, be it coaching, counseling, therapy, whatever, everyone can't be your client, and you can't be everyone's coach because there's different coaches for different skill set, different mindset, different places that you are in your life. So I always like to do a exploration conversation. That's where you're trying to figure out me and my style, and I'm trying to figure out exactly what you need. And so if you want to schedule something like that, it's free for 30 minutes. You can email me and we can schedule something for that. And my email address is, in case you don't go to the description box, info@coach-sherri.com. I think that's very important. No matter who you decide to go to or with to do something to better yourself, make sure they are a good fit. Don't just go for anyone. Just because someone had a good experience with that person, don't mean it's going to be the same for you. So make sure they are a good fit before you make any type of investment, and make sure that the investment is something that you are willing to pay and understanding the value add. That's the thing. It's not about a money grab over here for me. I'm just trying to help people help each other, to stay on point. It's a lot. It's a lot going on, and I get it. So, but I appreciate you all for being here again. And remember, every single day, practice so hard that when you get into play, you will always play to win. My car just went off. So thank you all. I am Coach Sherri, and I'll see you all later. Take care.